Hello, we're going over blueprints today. We have some pages on the house. This is a residential building. This is the foundation basement plan. This is drawing 1 of 10. If you look down in the bottom right hand corner, it'll give you all this information on that. It also says electrical wiring residential. That's what we're going over. And there's a scale right there. It says 1/4 equals 1 foot. It's right there in the bottom. So that gives us a lot of information for the prints we're going to be going over. So this is the basement foundation plan. This is going to tell us how the footprint of the house is actually going to set in the ground. These outer walls right here are actual foundation walls. This little wall right here is a concrete wall. This would be block, and you would know that by looking at the legend on the prints, or looking up what the basic material is for the engineer that they use and how they know. These in here are 2x4 stud walls that have got sheetrock on them. Possibly it'd probably be being in the basement. It could be green board, which is a moisture resistant sheetrock. So what we're looking at, and I know I don't have the whole print in the picture, but I got it zoomed in where you can see some different things here. We have a unexcavated area with it being concrete footers here, concrete foundation. This is going to be going for the garage above. It's unexcavated because it's going to have a slab sitting on it for your garage. You can see, let me move that just a little bit. You can see this opening right here. Hold down foundation 8 inches over pour slab at opening. So that kind of lets you know that that's going to be a slab. Okay. This is a recreational room. Got a little storage room here. Got a workshop in here. We show some columns. Alright, there's all kinds of markings on this page I want you to be aware of. This circle, number 7 with a triangle in the background, that's marking another page. That is going to give you some information on what that wall looks like. There's a wet bar right there. With that wet bar, you're going to have cabinet drawings. So when we go into this print a little bit further, keep that in mind. All of these symbols right here are telling you that there's a drawing somewhere else that shows you that wall. This right here, A7, there's a drawing that shows you that somewhere else. Right in here is actually where that is. They're going to give you more detail about how that's going to look somewhere else in the prints. It's hard to see, so I'm going to pull it up a little. This down here tells you these are 2x10 floor joists on 16-inch centers. And then we get an overall dimension of the house. The overall footprint is 61 foot 11 inches. That is from this edge all the way to this edge. And then over here we got a 44 foot 11 inches from this edge all the way down to the front of this garage slab right here. So the overall footprint is pretty good size, but that's not square footage. In order to get the square footage of just this basement, remember this is unexcavated, so you would have the area of all this area. The main thing you would want to do in this one is break it down into sections. You see these steps in here in this wall, how it steps down. So you'd want to get the area of this as much as you can. and add them together. If you try to get the whole area, then you would have to subtract all this that's missing. You wouldn't get the correct square footage. For example, this area not zoomed in very good, but it's 15 foot 11 inches from here to here. From here to here would be 35 foot 11 inches. You'd multiply them two together and you'd get the area for this. But you also have to take off a little bit of this footer wall here. We'd have to get our width of that. In this case, it's probably 12 inches. If we look right here, we can see this is a 12-inch block wall. So we could take 12 inches off and get our interior square foot area for this section. Then we would do the same thing for this section. This is 12 foot 3 from here to here. We subtract just the 12 inches for there, so it's actually 11 foot 3, and we can get this square foot area right here. The distance from here to here can be found by subtracting some of this stuff out or adding some of the stuff over here. You could add 11 foot 7, 15 foot 11, and you would get this, and that's how you'd find that square area. And you would keep going with the other two sections here and here. Add them together and they'll give you the total square foot area just for the basement. We see that the water heater goes down here. The furnace goes down here. There's freezer space. All this is good to know when you're getting ready to plan where the circuitry goes. Alright, this is page 2. This is the first floor. This is right above what we were just looking at. As you can see, there is a garage above it. It gives you all the information on the garage over here. Ceiling is 5/8 sheetrock. Warm walls is 5/8 sheetrock. Outside walls is 1/2 inch sheetrock. That's good to know if we're going to put our boxes up. We'll know to put our boxes at 5/8 sheetrock for the interior walls and the ceiling, and then on the outside walls we got to adjust our box depth for 1/2 inch sheetrock. We don't want the boxes sticking out once the sheetrock goes up, so we need to know those right away. We have some other numbers here that also are starting to show up. We got a 2 inside this symbol. We got a B inside a circle. Those are doors and window schedules. This is going to tell us how those doors look, what size they are. They give us kind of the information which way they swing for sure. The drawing shows this way, but you can double check with the door schedule and make sure somebody didn't draw it backwards. And the bifold doors over here, that'll be on the door schedule with the 8. There's another circle with a triangle with a 6. That's going to give us the breakdown of this fireplace. When you go to put a plug above that fireplace, you need to know how tall the mantle is, where everything's going to sit, and then you would probably want to know more information. Are you going to have a TV up there? You're going to have decorations up there? What are you using the mantle for? And with that and the cabinet drawings of it, you can put your plug in the place that they really need it. The cabinet drawings in the kitchen and bathrooms are your big thing. Laundry room's got a cabinet drawing. You see in the kitchen there's all kinds of cabinet drawings. There's the side of the island, the front of the island, the sink cabinet, the refrigerator cabinet. You got to look at every little detail on that, and when we get to it I'll show you guys. Bathroom vanity over here. It's going to tell you where the plugs need to be. You can see that all these walls here, based on the way it's shaded in, these are 2x4 walls, and they're going to have sheetrock on both sides. And then you got brick on the outside of this house that wraps all the way around. There is some places right here in the porch that are not brick. Looks like this may be vinyl in here. They really don't give us a good legend on this one. That's what it appears to be. You can also see we have the dimensions on the sides and tops of the rooms again. We can measure everything out, make sure we get our devices or the cabinet work, whatever we're working on, in the correct places based on the overall dimensions of the room. This is particularly on a slab good information to have. A lot of times in residential we don't do this, but in commercial we do, is we'll put conduits in the slabs and we can run stuff from one side to the other underground a lot easier than we could go up, over, and back down a wall. We don't do it a lot in residential. Builders kind of throw everything in there too quick or wait till the last minute, put concrete in. So you really just, if you put something in there, you could get it messed up. But it does make it a lot easier if you run pipe under the slab and turn it up into walls. You can pull your wire in the future. You don't have to run up and over. You don't have to drill holes through all the studs or anything like that. It can be there. So a lot of this information is good to know going forward, planning where you're going to put stuff. In the living room, right here we see that we got 10-foot ceilings with 4x6 exposed false beams. That's these lines right here are going to be the 4x6 exposed false beams. What that tells me is once everything's done and everybody's finished what they're doing, they're going to come in there with a 4x6 and just kind of nail it up to the ceiling that's there and make it look like it's holding the house up, but it won't be. When we go to lay these lights out or go to put these lights in, the prints won't have exact dimensions on where they go. But with these architectural drawings here, the kind of gives you an idea of the structural drawings. It kind of gives you an idea where the beam's going to go, and you can move your lights to line up with the beams. If you want to hang it off the beam, you can drill down through it when they go to put it up. Have your wire in the correct place. So all this information on these pages, what looks like it has no relevancy to the electrical field, this is stuff we need to know. That way we understand where to put stuff. A great example would be going into the study right here. If I did not know which way this door was going to swing, I wouldn't know which side of this to put the switch on. And just because it's drew this way, when you go and look at 4 right here, which this is a 4 also, that's going to tell me what type of door, how wide it is, and then to give me a little better idea of where it really swings to. Alright, this is page 3. This is going to be the south elevation, window, and door schedules are on this page too. We'll look at those before we go off. So this is the south elevation. That means this part of the house is facing south. This is what you would see from the road or the driveway. You have the garage on the left side. That's where the slab was. In the center section right there, you have the front door and some wood siding. And then you have the brick that continues across the rest of the house that starts over here with the garage also. Now, this can be very crucial looking at the front of the house with the elevation drawings. If a customer wanted lights on each side of the door, I can see that this garage door goes all the way to the top right here at these soldier courses. Soldier courses mean these block or brick are going straight up and down. So where the rest of the brick is turned sideways, soldier courses are turned straight up and down, and it gives a little decorative piece across there. So if we got a light going on each side of the garage door, I can look at the elevation and get a better idea where to put these lights and what kind of lights we may need. Same thing with the front door. Knowing that I have wood siding, it changes what I may do with the box right here. If we had brick, I would use a masonry box, have it turned sideways, and have it installed about where they want the light. But with wood siding, now I know that I need to use a plastic box, more than likely. I can use a round plastic box, get it about where it needs to be, but also I need to find out from the carpenters what kind of wood siding they're going to use where I don't hit an overlap or a joint, if they're going to have some kind of lap on the joints. So again, this helps me understand what the house is going to look like in the end, where I can get the boxes in the right place and make sure the customer gets what they want in the end. The window schedule and the door schedule right here. The window schedule can be very helpful in the fact that if I've got to put plugs in a room that has one of these windows, let's say it's A, and that size of that window is 2 foot by 4 foot, that gives me the dimensions to know where in that room that window is going to actually sit, where the center of it is. If they want to plug in the center of that window, I can actually measure it and get a little more accurate. Other than that, we won't refer to the window schedule that much, other than just knowing the size of it where we can get everything placed properly. The door schedule is kind of the same thing. We need to know how the doors set, how big they're going to be. That can change a lot of things. Alright, this is page 4. We have the east elevation. I know it's kind of hard to tell, but this is actually the garage wall looking from the east side of the house. Now this is the actual side of the house right here. So this is actually the front yard that comes out through here. So it kind of jots back in. This is set back further. The east wall. And if you look at the east wall, you only have one window on that east wall. So this is the side of the house that nobody really probably goes to. They're not going to really have a lot of stuff going on over here. You can see the fireplace and the steps on the back. Okay. Now up here we have some interior elevation stuff, some cabinet drawings. Now these are not very detailed out. They have a little bit of detail to them. If you see here, there's a number that says B36, so that's a base cabinet that is 36 inches wide. DB18, that's a drawer base cabinet that's going to be 18 inches wide. Have a bottle rack, so it kind of gives you an idea of what it is, but it's not detailed out completely. They didn't give us the heights. They didn't give us the height of the backsplash. You could assume the backsplash is a 4-inch backsplash. The cabinets can vary. There's your standard height of cabinets, but standard height of cabinets don't mean that's what's going in. So that would be a question to ask. Now here they did do a height on this one. It's 8 foot. That's the ceiling height. So they further down, they put the refrigerator in here. Here's the cabinets, pantry. You're going to have a plug in here for this refrigerator. Now what I like to do is you can see that there's possibly a piece of cabinet here hiding the side of the refrigerator. There's cabinets here and here. The only open is here. I like to put my refrigerator plug in an accessible place. So I would put it over this way just a little and put it at 48 inches. That gets me above the backsplash, above this countertop. I can grab the plug as I'm pushing it back in and pulling it out and reach it very easy. That way it's not down here inaccessible due to the sides. See, there's a cooktop, there's a hood fan. This is the side view of it. This is the front view. This is that island. With this, the first thing you need to ask them is, what do I need to do to get power to this hood fan? Does it come from above? Does it need to come from the cooktops here, around and above for controls? Is controls here? What do you need us to do? They probably won't know right off either. Fireplace is the same way. There's not a lot of dimensions here. If they want a TV, you're going to need a plug up here. It's a brick fireplace, so there again, before the brick goes up, you need to have your masonry box set in here. I would set it in here sideways. I'd have me an extra masonry box for data, even though we're all wireless a lot of things now, and have me a piece of conduit going out into the ceiling, above ceiling. I would go with 3/4 EMT probably. I've done 1/2 inch before. It gets kind of tight when somebody wants to pull a couple wires down through there. If they're pulling a Ethernet cable and a television cable, it could get a little bit tricky. So you may want to do a 3/4 EMT. Give them some room to add something. Dishwasher. Something that has changed recently on dishwashers. You have to put a plug in for a dishwasher. Used to, we drilled down through the middle of the floor at the back of it. You pulled a wire up through the floor and you hardwired it. We're putting plugs on them now. We got to put an appliance receptacle in there. So you want to know where that dishwasher is going to be sitting, where you can go ahead and have your box in the wall, have your plug there, and you just put your appliance cord on the dishwasher and plug it up. One more thing about this area here, this is your washer and dryer. I like to put my plugs on them kind of like I did the refrigerator, kind of up high. You want them high enough that you don't have to pull this washer or this dryer all the way out to get down in there to unplug them or plug them up. If you can just have them sitting right in here, right below the black backsplash area, right below the controls, they can reach over, unplug it, and get it plugged up easily. If you put it down here with a cabinet here and a cabinet here, your dryer and washer is all scrunched in there. It's hard to get in there to it. And this is page 5. We got the north elevation here. The north elevation shows you the back of the house. You see the chimney, you see the steps on the left side that comes out of these doors here. You got some doors over here with some steps, some windows that go all the way up. There's some windows and some doors. It's hard to tell the way they've got it drawn. And then you got a little door out the back side of the garage here. This is the garage part. We're still, and I know I hadn't hit this in a while, we're still on a 1/4 equals a foot scale. So just kind of show you that. The house shows to be 8 foot from right below the door to the top of the cornice there. So if you measure that with a ruler, I believe their scale's a little off. Should be 2 inches. So 1/4 equals a foot would mean every inch is 4 feet, and we're a little bit shy of that. So what that tells me is that this print's been resized. The original drawing was drew for a 1/4 inch equals a foot. When they printed it originally it may have. What somebody has done is they've took it to another place and had a duplicate set run to give to the electrician, the plumber. That way they're not having to pay the full price for a couple sets of prints. So you got to be careful with that. We would get half-size prints printed up to give to our lead men and our journeymen on jobs. It was cheaper for the half-size set than it was a full-size set. Well, a half-size set that I have may work out to half. If it's at a quarter equals a foot, it may actually be an eighth that equals a foot because it's a half. But the other journeyman or the other lead man, he may have a half-size print that really didn't come out half. It may be a little off. So always check your scale on the known thing before you automatically just use it. Alright, also on this particular one we have a plot plan. And the plot plan tells me the whole layout of the whole property. So the front of the house, land-wise, has 150 foot, 5 inch. Actually, it's 150 and a half, which is 6 inches. 150 foot and 6 inches across the front of the property. It's 99 foot deep, and it comes back 150 foot, 6 inches across the back side. We can see where the trees are going to be. These are the trees. This is not on their property. The branches come across. We can also see that there's a 3 foot concrete walkway and there's a post light right there. Now that post light, we need to have something in the ground going to it pretty quick. They pour that concrete sidewalk and you'll be digging down on each side, driving a rod through there trying to get wire back out there. So you want to get a pipe stubbed up out there as quickly as possible. As soon as you can find out where that concrete's going and turning, you need to get something out there to that. There's a swimming pool in the backyard with a diving board. This is all a pebble finished concrete, so anything you need out here for landscape lighting or anything that they may want to come out of the back of the house from back here, if it's got to go under here, you need to probably get it down before this pebble finish goes, or you're going to be coming around. There's a 10 foot utility on the back side. Some trees over here. Now this tells me that the building starts 20 foot back from the front of the property. Okay. This is the overview. Also, this will be looking straight down at the house, in case you don't see that. Alright, this is the page 6. This is the west elevation down here. This will be the west side of the garage, the west side of the house over there. See the fireplace. Also, this does show us the roof pitch, which is an 812. If we're doing a service, which would probably go on the side of the garage right here, the roof pitch would be good to know if we're going overhead service, just to kind of know we got to get our pipe up through there. We need to leave, a couple feet up there, but we just need to know, is it going to be a shingle roof or is it going to be a tin roof? If it's a shingle roof, I try to let them go ahead and do the shingles first and then run my pipe through there. If it's a tin roof, I get my pipe up there first and I'll let them put their tin around it. I can get a good boot for a shingle roof and it causes no issues, but a tin roof, I would rather them put their tin on there and their boot on there correctly. It makes for the life to be easier in the long run. Okay. On this page, we also have some schedule of special purpose outlets. Just a little closer. We have overhead garage door opener outlet right here. They're telling us it's going to be a 5.8 amp rating, 15 amp circuits, what they wanted on, single pole breaker, 14 gauge wire, and they want it on circuit number B14. So they give you circuit numbers down through here of what they want on where. So this one's a little more planned out than a lot of houses. Most houses, you make your panel schedule as you go, but this one, they want certain things on certain spots, and you need to be aware of that. Right above there, we have the dryer. The dryer is a 240 volt. It has a 120 volt, 1/6 horsepower motor only, but it does have a heating element in there. That's why it needs the 240. It's going to pull 23 3/4 amps. It's going to be a 5700 volt amp load, 30 amp breaker, 2-pole breaker, 10 gauge wire, and we want it on circuits B1 and 3. The reason we say B1 and 3 is when you number a breaker, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 and 3 will be above each other. And I'm going to show you the panel schedule in just a second. It's going to give you a better idea of that. See the air conditioner down here, the furnace. Those are the two big things you really got to watch. The air conditioner, 45 amps. Furnace is 70 amps. From looking at this list, that electric furnace is the biggest load in the house. And it's actually going to be pulling 54.2 amps, almost 54.25 amps for the heater and the motor combined. But you're going to have to do that 125%. There's a freezer down here. It's a single receptacle outlet. That means it's not a duplex, it's a single receptacle. It's 120 volt, and the reason they want that freezer on a single receptacle and they want it on circuit number A13, you don't want anything else plugged up with your freezer that could trip the breaker and cause you to come home and have all the stuff in your freezer ruined. So you put your freezer, your refrigerator, and things like that, any kind of cooling, something to do with food on a circuit by itself, or something else on that circuit does not trip it. Which this one here, they don't have the refrigerator on a circuit by itself according to their layout. But I would definitely do that. Alright, that brings us over to the panel. There's two panels in this house. They want a main service panel A, and they want a panel B. Okay, so the way this panel is labeled, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that electric furnace over there, it says 2 circuits. It's right here actually. Panel A, 1 and 3. It's because it's going 1 and 3. So there's a 70 amp breaker on these 2 legs, on these 2 spots, that goes to the electric furnace. Now this one's laid out completely. They have every single breaker already labeled for you, where it goes. Entry and porch lighting, workshop lighting, master bedroom lighting, and outside receptacles. I would not put my master bedroom lights and outside receptacles on the same breaker, but that's the way they've got it. study, bedroom lighting, hall bath receptacle, a spare, and then feeder panel B comes out of this one, and it's a 100-amp breaker. Over here, you got a list of other stuff, and then we go to the 100-amp breaker that feeds this. It says 125-amp main lug here, but it's fed from a 100-amp breaker. This is a 200-amp main service disconnect. But even though this says 125 amps, you're feeding it with a 100-amp breaker, so you're only going to be able to get 100 amps out of this before the breaker trips. Dryers 1 and 3, countermounted range is 2 and 4, and it has all the other breakers listed down through there. Now down here, they put an optional electric vehicle receptacle, 40-amp 2-pole breaker. That'll be in your garage. That'll be for your Tesla or any other electric car that you may have. And there is specific codes about that receptacle now that has been added and updated in the 2020 code book. This is a cross-sectional cut of the house. It says 3/8 of an inch equals a foot. Remember, you want to double check that. Make sure you got a set of prints that's correct. On the cross-section of the house, basically what they do is they cut the house right in half, where you can see how it all goes together from the foundation slab, the walls in the basement, all the way up through how it all ties together with the floor joists, the walls upstairs, then the ceiling joists. There's the false beams. You can see how they're running in the house, how they're going to look. You got some false beams going both ways, so they just show you kind of what one cut in half and the other one then come behind it. The roof trusses, these look like pre-manufactured roof trusses. So you can see how they're going to look, so you'll know how to run stuff in the attic. If they don't have the roof trusses up and they want you to start running wire, you'll know that it's not being stick built. Four-inch slab in the basement down here. 8-foot 10-inch ceiling. 10-foot ceilings on the first floor. Okay, now we're getting to the actual electrical print. We're on drawing 8 of 10. You see how we have the legend on the right side, and then we have the building on the left. There's some notes at the bottom. We'll start with the note 1 right here. It says use EMT or tie NM cable protected in EMT for drops in the workshop. So that means everything in this workshop area has to have EMT coming down the walls. You can't just run your Romex straight down the walls and tie it in. There is a partition wall right here, so if you're inside this wall, you're fine, but what they're saying is coming down these walls, you've got to have these receptacles around here in EMT, and these plugs and switches in EMT to protect it. So that means this panel right here, this is your main panel A. All of these feeds coming in the top of it would have to have EMT going up to the ceiling level. You wouldn't want it exposed based on note 1. Of course, note 2 is provide GFCI and AFCI protection as required. They've got all the GFCIs marked on the prints where they want them, but double check their locations. They may miss something. And if they miss it and you don't catch it, then at the end you'll be coming back fixing it. Arc fault protection is required in the whole house now. So there is special places where you don't have to use arc fault. Single dedicated receptacles to a piece of an equipment. There's some loose ways we can use that. I would not put a GFCI on a deep freeze or refrigerator. I would move my receptacle around to where I could have it code without that. Because again, you don't want the GFCI tripping and somebody coming home and eating some bad food. Alright. Here's a circle with a PS. If we look up here, that's a light with a pull switch. The other lights in there are just ceiling luminaires. Here's the transformer chime for your doorbell. There's the freezer that we've seen on the panel schedule. You got some light fixtures here. It says C Note 8. So let's jump down here and look at 8. Lay-in fixtures, 4 lamp. They're 2x4 with a Miser F32 SP30 RS WM fluorescent lamps. Coordinate install with ceiling contractor. So what that tells me is we're doing a lay-in ceiling in the recreation room, and I need to get with the ceiling guy and make sure that they leave me a 2x4 layout for those 6 lights. If you don't get with the ceiling guy, he will block it all in for 2x2 tiles, and you'll be having to go back and get them moved and all that. When he goes to put his ceiling grid up, you need to be down there working out where those lights need to go with him. Got some TV plugs right here. This is the plug for the TV, but this is the cable box for the TV. Here's panel B, hid in this corner. You got a wet bar here. So this recreation room will have its own little wet bar. The good questions to ask there is, are you going to have microwaves or anything like that in the cabinets of it? They do not in this one. They don't show that they do. Okay, now we're on page 9. This is the first floor electrical plans. You can see there's a lot going on this floor. This is the main living area, so there's going to be more stuff going on. They got the switches drew in, they got all the plugs drew in, and they got the circuitry drew between them. So what they're saying right here is this switch controls these 2 lights. So they even have which side of the switch is on for which. This is the switch 3-way that controls this light, and this is the other 3-way. So they have all your switch legs tied back to their switches where you'll know that that's what switch and where they want that switch at. For example, in this bedroom, they have the switch closest to the door controlling these split receptacles. The second switch is controlling the light. The third switch is controlling the fan on the light. So they're letting you know exactly which switch goes to which device. There's some track lighting here. It's on a dimmer. There's the S with the D. And we got some notes over here. Center of, let's do note 1. Center of WP receptacles and telephone outlets to be 18 inches above finished grade. General contractor to set boxes horizontal in masonry or siding. So that tells me that box right there, they wanted 18 inches above finished grade. They want the general contractor to set the boxes horizontal in the masonry or siding. There's the telephone. They want that 18 inches. So it will be a masonry box turned sideways, and you'll have to figure out the finished grade. Now, the finished grade, that's why they said general contractor. He should know the finished grade and be able to put it in there. Right here it says porcelain lamp holders to be installed in attic above folding stairs, kitchen, living room, and master bedroom, total of 4. So there's going to be a folding stair to get up here, and they want a light up here. They want a light above this one. They want a light above the kitchen one. So the folding stairs are, I don't see the folding stairs. Right here they are. It took me a second. So there'll be a light here, 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 and here in the attic. They want to be able to get up there and see when they're working on stuff. All smoke detectors to be of the AC, DC type to be interconnected, provided stimulus, all to be sound at the same time. So we got smoke detectors here. We got a heat detector here. Smoke here, smoke here, smoke. Now this is a carbon detector. Outside of every bedroom area, you got to have a carbon monoxide tester if there's gas in the house. So if there's going to be gas in the house, or potentially in the future be gas in the house, you would put a carbon monoxide tester in there. And they make a smoke carbon combo, and that's what I would do right there. Instead of having two devices, it'll look cleaner. All switches to be centered 46 inches above finished floor. All receptacles to be centered at 12 inches above finished floor. All receptacles above countertop centered at 46 inches above finished floor. So they tell you exactly where they want all the devices in the house. TV outlets 12 inches above finished floor. Telephone outlets 12 inches above finished floor unless otherwise noted. Well, the reason they said unless otherwise noted would probably be because of this one outside's 18. And I don't see any more that would have a note. But that would be the one that is noted different for sure. Oh, there it is. I knew there was one more. 54 inches to the center. That's a wall mount telephone. We don't do a lot of those anymore. But in a lot of older houses, they would have a wall mount telephone somewhere in the living room or kitchen. Okay, note number 8. Install 2 empty trade size 1/2 inch MT run from bottom edge of workshop ceiling joist through the partition between the hall and the bedroom closet to 12 inches above attic joist. So that's right there. They want 2 1/2 inch conduits going up through there, EMTs. That way they can drop wires from the attic to the basement anytime they need to. If they need to add something somewhere, they got somewhere to get it up there. Fluorescent luminaires above windows and study bedroom to be mounted inside previously installed valance. So right here we have some lights that go across this window. So there's going to be another piece of valance going here, and we're going to have to put that light up in that valance to hide the light but give light coming down. Number 11. See the room by room cable layout plans in chapters 8 through 18 for additional detailed branch circuit wiring. This went with a book. That's the reason that note's in there. So I just want to tell you that we're disregarding that for this. Number 12. Provide neutral conductor at switches required by NSE Article 404.2C. So that means each room has to have a neutral at one switch location. If you brought you neutral to here, you can bring a neutral to here for here, bring it here,